We first just want to say that this episode is dripped in love. We are not here to, condemn or to judge anybody or to tell anybody what to do. We are the auntie and the uncle, but we're not here to tell y'all what to do. But we do want to just bring some things to your attention, to prayerfully ask you to be mindful and aware.
Right.
Because the number one goal of this conversation is for you to consider your safety.
Yes.
And when we say safety, we mean safety in every way. Your physical safety, your emotional safety, your mental safety, your spiritual safety. Like in every way, we want you to be safe. We want you to move in and out and through relationships in a way that causes you to grow, to get to know yourself better, and to have amazing experiences with other people.
Yeah. Welcome to another episode of Soulful Conversations. We appreciate all of you who are listening and watching on the various platforms. And so we are going to get into our topic for this episode.
Yes.
I'll start off by saying, 'tis the season. 'Tis the season. You may be thinking Thanksgiving or Christmas. That's not the season that we're talking about, family. We are talking about cuffing season. Cuffing season. The song that a lot of y'all dancing to, making videos to. That's what we are going to talk about. We have a lot of single friends.
Yes.
And not to say that any of them are cuffing. So, but we have a lot of conversation with them, and they are very dear to us, and in our inner circle, a lot of them are in that place, and so and
that's another reason why this is a sensitive topic, and that we are approaching it with empathy because our inner circle is so saturated with folks who are unpartnered. I don't know that I want to call them single. Because they have very, very full lives. And I think sometimes being single has a negative connotation to it. It makes it seem like you are without. When we have some single friends whose lives are very full, while they might not be in an intimate love relationship, they're not lonely. They're not desperate. They're living their best life.
Yeah, they are. They are. And so the topic that we're using for this episode is cuffing season. Is it worth it? That's what we want to talk about. If it's worth it. If you say it is, do you? If it's not, then do you as well.
Govern yourself
accordingly. Yes. But as we begin to talk about cuffing season, I just kind of want to go through and explain, because there may be someone who is not familiar with the term.
Who is not listening to Benance.
They're doing all of that, but they don't know what, because it's Beyonce. But cuffing season traditionally occurs during winter as people intentionally cuff themselves together to make it through the lonely and cold winters. And they willingly enter into these relationships knowing it won't last. Now, that's not Frank and Sheila saying that. That's a definition that we found.
The other piece to that is that they choose beneath their standards.
Yeah. They settle.
They settle for folks. They settle for who's there.
Yeah.
As opposed to who they would genuinely and truly want to be in an intimate relationship with. So, based on our research, there could be more, but we found 3 different types of cuffing. One of them is casual hookups. Mm-hmm. This is your app hookups, Tinder, Bumblebee, all of the ones that are out there, right? And this is where you just hook up with somebody that you've had limited contact with, or probably not a lot of prior contact with, and it's just sexual. It's just energy. That's all it is. And you hook up, and, your cuffing season is filled with the physical, actual sexual contact, and not just cuddling, which is what I thought cuffing was a long time ago. But anyway, the second type is friendships that turn sexual and romantic. And I should say and or romantic, because you can be in a romantic relationship with someone that is not sexual.
Right.
And so those are different types of relationships, and maybe we can do a podcast about that too. But these are the folks that, y'all are cool, you know each other, you have some level of relationship, some level of connection, and then all of a sudden you just start looking at each other a little different. Um, and that attraction takes over probably what has been a pretty decent friendship up until that point. And then the third type of cuffing relationship is one that starts in the fall and it just speeds up with a lot of intensity. So maybe this is somebody who you know but aren't friends with, right? So the example I like to use for this one is it's a coworker. Like it's somebody that you just like, oh hey, how you doing? It's not somebody that you're friends with, but it's somebody that you know. And it goes from uber casual, uber, like comfortable to intense passion. It's just like, a scene out of 9.5 weeks. You just ripping your clothes. I just dated myself. People don't even know what 9.5 weeks is. That's an old movie.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
So they just get into it, right? They just get into it. And it's not based on, I like you. Do you like me? Check the box. Yes or no. It's not based on attraction in a way that draws you in. It's intense. It's meant to be a very, very passionate type of connection.
And in those three, there is also that element of, we hear a lot about red flags and things that you may notice about an individual that you may feel like, nah, but during the cuffing season, there's a tendency to kind of overlook those. Those things can be overlooked because you desire connection for that period of time that you're in this cuffing relationship with the person. And that's, again, how when we came to doing this as related, this particular topic, this episode, like the is it worth it part, like emotionally, is it worth it from that perspective? If you get into it and, you get into something that's toxic or a red flag that's just really giving you anxiety, you're now in a relationship where you are dealing with a lot for a season, for sex or for whatever reasons. And so, that's the part of it that, is how that's unhealthy. And do you want to go through October to February,
the day after
Valentine's, or or before, it depends,
and then get ghosted,
and then just somebody disappear on you or lose your number or whatever, and you put yourself into it, because there's, from some things that I saw, there isn't a lot of investment in that.
We're gonna talk about a
emotional connection either, because it's a lot of spending time doing things, like some of the stuff that you mentioned, sexual, but the emotional investment isn't there. But what happens when one partner does begin to get emotionally invested? We're all grown people, and a lot of times when you get into sexual relationships, feelings and emotions can begin to be displayed. And so then you have that element also in the cuffing season. How do you handle that, knowing that February is coming or Valentine's Day is coming?
Yeah. So this entire concept of this type of relationship is a situationship.
Yeah.
Right. This isn't the person you introduce to your parents and your family and all of this stuff. This is kind of the person. It's your hookup person. It's your hookup buddy. It's your friend with benefits. Right. What makes it cuffing is the time period. Like people talk about spring flings. Right. This is specifically during the cold winter months.
Yeah.
So where do you want to go next with this? Because we got a lot of information.
I guess, let's see. We talked about the emotional risk part of it. So, I guess we should touch on also, like, if somebody decides, that this is something they want to get into, like some things that, let's
talk about some rules.
Some rules,
some rules of engagement. Let's put some boundaries.
Touch on
this thing.
Is it worth it as we go through these rules?
Okay. So Here's some rules. Rule number 1, don't play games. Don't play games. Just go ahead and be honest and say, look, I'm interested in you. I'm interested in connecting, but I'm not really looking for a long-term relationship. I might be in between relationships. I might have just gotten out of something long-term. But I'm not committing any. I'm not making any commitments here, right? So don't play games. Just go ahead and tell the truth.
So in a situation like that, a person has to be honest with themselves, I would say. You got to be honest with yourself, and as to whether or not this temporary relationship is something that you really want to jump into. So it's that thing of figuring out what you want.
And can you accept it? I know you're going to tell me talking to the mic. And can you accept it if a person says that?
Yeah.
Like if a person says to you, "No, this is really all I want."
Right.
Are you really willing to deny yourself what you want with that truth in your face? Right? So let's talk about we talk about expectations and sexpectations. We talk about sexpectations within the context of marriage and loving, committed relationships. But this is another one of those areas where that kind of conversation is critical. So don't play games. Be honest. Evaluate your expectations and make a decision about whether you are willing to go all in with the expectations and the parameters that this person is putting in place. Because this person's expectation is, look, I told you. So don't come for me.
And don't feel pressured.
Don't be trying to be my mama. Don't think that I'm getting down on my knee for Christmas. Don't think you're getting the biggest teddy bear at the mall for Valentine's Day. We're not doing all of that. Okay? So don't play games. Be honest and discuss expectations. Okay? So that's the cluster where we get started. Don't forget about your other friends.
Oh, boy.
So you were in relationships with folks, your girlfriends, your buddies, all of those folks before this person came along. And if you are in cuffing season and this person is consuming an exorbitant amount of your time, then you have less time to hang out, be with, and nurture relationships that you already have in your life. So if you cuffing, don't forget your homies.
And what you can do, if this is what you want to do, set some boundaries to say, we're going to be together for this time. I'm going to be with my friends. I'll be with you when I be with you.
Yeah, like me and my girlfriends, we still doing Thursday night.
Yeah.
We still doing Thursday night margaritas, and you're not invited. Like keep your routine with your crew. Be as genuine with that as you can possibly be while you're in this cuffing relationship. Right. Okay, we were talking about investments. Here we go. Please don't buy extravagant gifts and spend an exorbitant amount of money in hopes that it will change the person's mind.
But
I paid his car note. I paid her house note. Hey, if the expectations have been made clear in the beginning and everybody is being honest, Dutch is a thing. Dutch is a verb and a noun. It's a place and it's something you do. Right? So we just gonna leave that alone. We're gonna leave that alone. And then the last one we're gonna go over as far as rules is please be safe sexually.
Yes, please.
We are still in an era where you can get something that you can't get rid of. We are still in those times, family. And so, the last thing that you want to do is, in the name of fun, in the name of dissolving your loneliness for a few months, is leave or exit that situation with an STD, with something that is life-threatening, all of the above. Because then what's the answer to that?
Yeah.
Like, what could you do? What could you say? How mad could you be? We're adults and we're willing to have this adult conversation with you. So, we're not naive enough to think that everybody is waiting for marriage or everybody, so if you're going to be out here in these streets, as the kids say, if you're going to be out here in these streets, please, please, please be safe. When we were coming up, the worst thing that could happen to you was you get pregnant. Now you can contract something that can take your life.
Yeah.
And so it's a very different time, y'all. It's a very different time. And I know that medicine is out here and it's prolonging people's lives. And, people are living with chronic and terminal diseases. But family, just be careful.
It can be
Just
avoided.
please be careful. It can be avoided. It
Yeah.
can be avoided.
And so, I mean, if you totally want to sit out cuffing season and and you're looking for something long term, there it is. I mean, that's it.
Honest.
I mean, it's like being honest with yourself. Don't give up something that you want. And we're not going to sit here and sit in a place, like Sheila said, yes, we are married and we've been together for a long time, but we do have single friends, and we were single once upon a time, and
many
moons ago, but we still remember,
yeah.
that the thing of wanting to be, especially around holiday season, if all your friends, especially like you just went through like a wedding period of time where you were
over the summer
and you were the bridesmaid, you just bought 5 dresses from April to October, and you want to have somebody, that's something that you have to work through as an individual. But what we're saying is, just we don't want anyone to settle into something that will bring them undue stress.
Yeah.
Or risk their health and their sanity. We've gone through a lot as it relates to the pandemic, as far as our mental health. And so to come into something that is now going to, take your mental health and put it on a roller coaster, is it worth it? Is the question. Is it worth it?
And have you been approached, or are you approaching someone who has the level of communication skill that can keep the situation what it is? If you can be in these types of relationships and you can keep the conversation going, you can keep the honesty going about where this is and where it's not going to go, or where people don't want it to go, then like we say, govern yourselves accordingly, and please by all means protect yourselves.
So you got anything else you want to add?
No, honestly, because this was just for us to
this
was just for us to throw this out there. We want to be relevant, and we want to be discerning of the times that we're in, right?
Yeah.
And so this is a real thing, right? So, we did the whole episode on being ghosted and breadcrumbed and all of that. And this is another one of those terms. The thing is, this is just as hurtful as some of those other things. And so when we're asking family, is it worth it? We want you to take a look in the mirror and say, is this what you deserve? Is this the best that can be offered to you?
Yeah.
And if it's not, value yourself enough to say, no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
I'm not doing that. And I have relationships, and I have people, and I'm not going to say who the person is, even though she tells this story. But we had, we said earlier that we have a lot of single friends. Our inner circle is filled with folks who are unpartnered right now. And we have a girlfriend, and she would come to our house and sleep.
Yeah.
To keep from being in a cuffing situation.
Oh, I'll just put it bluntly, a booty call.
Right. She would drive to our house. Like, she would knock on our door at 11, 12 o'clock at night. Like, and we're like, hey, what you doing? She's like, it was come here or go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And she would just come to our house. She would get a blanket, sleep on the sofa, play with the kids, do all kinds of stuff. But it kept her from having to deal with the consequences. And I think that's the next step of this conversation is, okay, so say you do it.
Yeah.
Say you find somebody and you're attracted and they're attracted and all the communication has happened and everybody's been honest and the expectations have been all laid out and everybody knows rights, roles, and responsibilities in this type of relationship. We know the day after Thanksgiving, the day after Valentine's Day, we're done. We're going to spring forward, daylight savings time. We're going to have our spring fling and our hot girl summer. We're going to do all of that. And then cuffing season is going to come back around again, right? But there's a consequence.
Yeah.
There's a consequence. There's a consequence for both of you.
Yeah.
And if you are saying, I'm willing to deal with those consequences come what may, Okay.
Yeah.
But if you don't know
Yeah.
and can't gauge and don't have a crystal ball
Yeah.
of how you're going to feel on February the 15th or the 16th or the 17th, then maybe this isn't really for you.
And that's really a self-check. I mean, we said it earlier, being honest with yourself. You might, there are a lot of things we get into sometimes and we thinking we can ride it out. And then once we're in it, it's a whole different story. So that's why you do that self-check, that self-assessment, and ask yourself, is it worth it? Is this something that I want to engage in?
Yeah, family. Because we want you to not just be well October through February, but all year long.
Yes.
In every relationship. In every relationship.
And I want to add something too, because this is kind of what is it? The boomerang I'll throw out there. Okay. That it'll come back. You could get into this cuffing season and miss an opportunity for someone that is looking for something long term. You could miss out on someone that really would be a fruitful relationship while you're cuffing
with the wrong person. You could miss the right person.
You could miss the right person. Mr. Right could be missed.
Mr. Right could have been sitting there looking at you the whole time.
Yeah.
That's something. That's something.
So we're going to end on that note. So, family, we want you to comment. I mean, I know this is I don't know about saying comment because I know this is touchy.
No,
we want people to, but we want to, but I know it's touchy. It's touchy for some, and so we'll put the soulful email address down. So if you want to email us or message us, you can do that. Absolutely. Either way, so that you don't have to be
privately.
Do it privately. And so we thank you for listening on the podcast formats, and we thank you for watching on the YouTube format. And we all want to ask you to subscribe.
Absolutely.
And our whole premise for doing all of this is to reach as many couples as possible. This is kind of this is a little different from what we typically talk about as relates to, but it's in the relationship category, which is what we talk about. And so we want you to share this. I did not make this up. I got this from someone. I had listened to a lot of podcasts, and I heard a person say this. And so the comment was made: the episode that you decide to share could be the answer to someone's relationship prayer. So
true.
I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna steal it. So that's it. So. We want you to share this, subscribe. Thank you for being a part of the soulful community. We will be, if you got topics you'd like for us to explore, questions, hit us up. Want to also ask you to go to our community tab on our YouTube page. There is an anonymous survey there regarding this question about cuffing season. As it stands right now, there are a lot of people that are not participating in cuffing season. So we just want to know. We just want to get a survey. Would you do it? The question, yes or no. Yeah. It's kind of that kind of thing. So I am Frank.
And I'm Sheila. Family, we love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care and be well.
Be well. Peace.